everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Scorpio. Alright, my Scorpios, you're up next, and this is going to be for today, December 29th, all the way up to the January 4th. Let's get right into it, Scorpio. First and foremost, we are going to pull out your romance angel messages, and then we'll get your animal spirits and your traditional spread out. Alright, guys, so I hope you're doing well, Scorpio. You've been having some intense readings lately. Generally really talking about love relationships a lot. But let's just see. The weeklies are general readings, so anything could come up. But I like to pull the romance angel messages because they will give us an indication to the nature of your relationships this week, right? So here we go. Passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing. We have religious factors. So love life is being influenced by your background, your upbringing, and children. Wow, your love life is also being affected by children. Now, of course, this reading is not going to be for all Scorpios. So just take what resonates with you and disregard the rest. You know, if there's no children around in your life, then clearly that message is not for you. Children, though, can also indicate sometimes, this card can also indicate a relationship or connection that is in its infancy or that's quite new, right? So it doesn't only have to be just actual children, but it can also kind of represent sometimes the maturity level of a relationship, right? So let's get right into it. Show me what my lovely Scorpios are working with this week as far as their animal spirits. All right, Scorpio. First out, we have the hummingbird. Beautiful air energy. Highly spiritually resourceful animal spirit. We have the golden egg, heart chakra opening up. So, certainly talking about warmth and needing sort of nurturing, right? And we have the elk. Earth energy. Elk hasn't shown up for quite some time. So, let's just see. The hummingbird, air energy. Hummingbird is spiritually one of the most resourceful animal spirits in the deck, right? What does the hummingbird do? It goes out every day and seeks out the best places to find the best nectar. You know, the food of the soul, as it were, right? And so in this way, the hummingbird is someone who can really tap into a lot of different sort of resources to boost its self-confidence spiritually or emotionally, right? The hummingbird is very hardworking and generally just a lovely communicator in the sense that being around the hummingbird energy or a hummingbird person who's resonating with this energy feels good. Something about them seems to sort of uplift you, can be very sort of I don't know, like a tonic for the soul to be around this kind of energy. Now, the golden egg is associated with the fourth chakra, which is the heart chakra. And we talk about the golden egg requiring warmth, right? Because warmth is what opens up the heart, you know, and warmth comes from being, sharing your emotions, you know, sharing your love, your caring, your understanding, being compassionate, right? Patient. These are all the qualities that can make people feel warm and that can warm their hearts and open their hearts. And right now, Scorpio, you may be resonating with a little bit of this. You may be beginning to open up your heart to a certain situation, or certainly there may be a situation in your life that is calling for you to sort of open up your heart. And certainly we want that heart chakra to engage with the throat chakra so that you can express yourself as well. Now, the elk, strong earth energy, right? This is the card for the father in the deck, right? The elk is strong, protective, wise, masculine energy. There is not anything that the elk wouldn't do for its family. And so in a lot of ways, this is really beautiful sort of, you know, the master of the forest realm sort of energy, right? But the elk can at times be a little bit obstinate, a little stubborn, a little overbearing, right? And sometimes can be a little bit arrogant, right? Arrogant and egotistical because he's the one in charge, right? This is definitely alpha male energy. And even though, this is absolutely the card for the father. And so I often say my readings are not gender specific. But when we talk about certain animal spirits, this is definitely a masculine energy, a masculine alpha energy coming in. And most of all, really talking about protection and guidance for the family and those that the elk loves. All right, guys, so let's get right into your spread, Scorpio. See what you may or may not be dealing with this week, this last week of 2019, first week of 2020. I will be working on the January love readings tomorrow and Tuesday to get as many of those out by the 1st on Wednesday as possible. And those readings are really nice. I do a full Celtic spread with clarifiers from the Thoth deck. They generally run about 20-30 minutes, so look out for those. Don't forget to hit your bell if you want to be notified on when those are premiering. All right, Scorpio, let's see what your week may or may not entail for you. Just take what resonates for you. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. Queen of Cups. Strength. And 4 of Pentacles. So some of you are entering this week resonating with the Queen of Cups. You really want to share your cup of love with somebody. There is someone that you want to exchange your heart with, right? You want to share your heart with them. You want to express yourself with them, and you want to express your feelings to them. The Queen of Cups is all about sharing her feelings with a special love or special interest in her life. She has a very special cup to give, right? Her cup, if you notice, her cup is absolutely singular in the tarot deck. There are no other cups that look like that in the deck or are represented like that. And it really talks to what a gift it is that she gives, right? Because she gives of herself. The Queen of Cups is all about as above, so below. So she wears her heart, right? She is who she is. She doesn't hide her feelings. And she's also not she's not afraid to necessarily be vulnerable either. She's generally emotionally healthy. So, Scorpio, you're resonating with this. You come up against strength energy, which is 8 major arcana. 8 is the number for strength. It's also the number for boundaries and enforcing those boundaries. And with strength, we talk about restricting yourself, being disciplined. Putting boundaries on ourselves is a form of restriction and discipline. Putting boundaries in for others is also a form of protecting yourself and protecting your strength, right? And this is all to do with sort of overcoming those baser emotions, right? Those emotions of jealousy, envy, pride, the type of emotions that, when you get caught up in them, you're not strong at all. You work from a point of weakness. And I think this week you're really dealing with some of that, right? Something is going on somewhere with someone that you're wanting to exchange your cup of love with. You want to exchange your heart with. But this strength energy is coming in because it needs to. And it could very well be that you're dealing with a lot of your own kind of demons or emotional baggage that you have to kind of work through and summon up the proper strength to actually express yourself, right? You round the week off with a 4 of Pentacles. It's quite interesting because through all of this is really all about you working on yourself and being strong enough to actually love someone and share that with someone, right? Which can take dealing with some of those baser emotions, especially if you're someone who gets easily angry or jealous or contemptuous or, even kind of maybe even a little spiteful, right? These are the type of emotions we're talking about taming with the Strength card. So it could be that those emotions have been standing in the way of you expressing yourself. But rounding the week off with a 4 of Pentacles, it's like for some reason, something happens this week for some of you where you feel very sort of insecure about your finances, right? You feel insecure about the stability of your finances or your career or business. You may even be feeling like your finances are threatened in some way. And so by the end of the week, it's like you have a twofold week. The one, you're dealing with everything. It's like not only are you dealing with your own kind of demons this week because of a love connection that you have or a connection where you want to share yourself, you're also dealing with the fear of your finances kind of being sort of under attack or being destabilized, right? And ultimately, this is a good week for sort of you making yourself I'm not going to say better, but resonating up a little higher, because all of this is very much a sort of shadow work sort of energy. Although the Four of Pentacles will require some more work, you are doing some shadow work right now this week with the Strength card. And so all of this is really about you. Maybe some of you Scorpios have decided it's time to change certain things about yourself, and you're really kind of beginning to look at that this week. Two of Swords, Page of Cups, Four of Cups. Some of you have an impossible decision. You don't know which way to go. It's a Two of Swords. You come into this week with the Two of Swords, and Two of Swords is all about like just being given a decision, or sometimes even feeling like you're forced to make a decision in a scenario where you simply cannot make it. You know, the two choices are equal. You know, and you can't, you know, it's like, I can't live with them, I can't live without them. Literally, it's that feeling. And I want to say that for some of you, that choice could indeed be that. It could be a choice between your background and a new lover, right? You may be given a choice between, you know, a situation that involves children or stepchildren, children from a previous relationship. Could be revolving around religious or cultural factors that are making you choose between your lover and perhaps your culture or whatever. You know, it does feel very much like a pressure. A lot of times Two of Swords does come from pressure somewhere outside of us, right? And it can feel quite like sort of, you know, I don't want to make this choice. Why am I being forced, right? But the thing with Two of Swords is that the secret to getting through this scenario is not to necessarily make a choice between one or the other at all, but to find a balance. Because two is actually the number for balance and duality. And I find a lot of times that two cards are interpreted as choice cards, but that's a typically Western way of interpreting that, because in the West, we have a very sort of value-based system. You know, we're always thinking about one thing being better than the other thing, or one thing being worse than the other thing. You know, our judgment and our decision-making process is always based on this constant sort of, not a balance, but sort of, you know, a one-upmanship. You know, I want the best of the best. You know, I want, you know what I mean? And so oftentimes twos are always can be interpreted like that. But in fact, two, like I said, really talks about duality. It talks about balance, and the universe is all about balance. It's not about constantly deciding which is better and which is worse. And I think that, you know, if you come from a point of view of always trying to find the best decision rather than the most balanced decision, you're always going to be faced with the same decision over and over. You know, you'll never, you know, you're always going to be looking for the grass that's greener on the other side, or something that's better than what you've got. You know, at some point you have to find that it's all about balance. And once you understand that, this will be much easier dealt with. So you're coming into the week with this energy, met with a Page of Cups. So it's like, interestingly enough, even though you have this choice, or you came into the week feeling like you had this choice that you had to make, and certainly a choice that involves a love connection, you find yourself with somebody trying to offer you a token of their love, right? A token of sort of their interest in you. It could also be you offering your cup to someone and saying, hey, look, you know, I know that, you know, you may have pulled away from somebody because of this decision-making process, but something about this Two of Swords, and perhaps the understanding that you have that it is all about balance, is making you reconsider a situation, because you have this sort of token of love here. Page of Cups is all about also overcoming jealousy and envy, the first steps of fear in a love connection. And the first steps of fear in any love connection generally is jealousy, envy, and self-esteem issues. And so conquering those, right? Conquering your jealousy or conquering your self-esteem issues to be able to make that action of going out and offering somebody your token of love is a really great first step in understanding those that realm, right? The realm of cups. And so somewhere along the line this week, you try to make an effort. This can also be like a conciliation or a reconciliation, right? In a way. And again, you round the week off with a Four of Wands, feeling very, very strongly about a connection being your soulmate. I'm going to say, you know, this Four of Wands is how you round off the week. Now, it could be that you hand your cup of love to this person and they take it and you guys really find a happy balance and move forward with it, right? Because Four of Wands is 11-11, but it's also Venus and Aries. So it talks about a new relationship or a new path in a relationship. So for some of you, I think that, you know, you did find a balance in the scenario and you took that leap of faith to kind of say, okay, let's try a different way. And it works out quite nicely because you move forward with your partner with stability. And if it is someone that you've been with before, you still move forward with them, and then you can still move forward with them in a new way. So it's almost like you sort of you rejudge the relationship, you twist, you tweak some things and fix some things, and it's like there's a whole new way that you guys are interacting, which is much more stable and much more healthy and has much more potential for being a twin flame journey. Judgment, Six of Wands, and the Eight of Cups. So Judgment comes in. Some of you this week, Judgment has come out. By the way, Judgment card has come out for every single weekly reading so far. And this is to say that a lot of you, everyone is kind of letting go, letting go of guilt, letting go. And even now saying, I feel like, letting it go, letting go of your own guilt, letting go of your own hypercriticism, this has been a very judgmental time in our history right now. Everybody's being extremely judgmental of everyone else. And just in general in society, you can see it. But it's like, my collective, you're getting these judgment cards because it's all about, a lot of us are finally beginning to see that, holding ourselves to a unrealistic standard, right? An unrealistic standard of behavior, holding other people to an unrealistic sort of standard as well. We are all humans. We all make mistakes, right? And sometimes, I'm not saying that you should just forgive and forget, but what I am saying is judgment definitely comes in when you're willing to at least look at a scenario from another point of view, another perspective, not your own. That's all that really can be asked for. When we talk about letting go and we talk about forgiveness, when we talk about reconciliation, we're not ever talking about just forgiving and forgetting. That's become quite a standby sentence. But what does that actually mean? Forgiving and forgetting, it's, how do you get there, and really the truth of the matter is it's all really about understanding that any one given situation can be seen from an infinite amount of different sort of viewpoints and perspectives, right? And so understanding that allows us to have empathy for the other person in that scenario. So again, we're kind of transcending the quip of forgiving and forgetting and really getting to a deeper thing, which is really trying to understand, how can you forgive somebody if you don't understand them? If you don't take the time to truly understand why somebody did something, you're fooling yourself if you think you're forgiving anyway, or forgetting. You're just kind of taking a self-righteous high road, and you're not really learning anything, and this is what judgment talks about. And so you're really caught up in this week, Scorpio. It's a real head trip for you this week, but you come into a victory. And it could very well be that something turns around or something happens for you at work or in your social group and you feel extremely vindicated. And a lot of this could be because of your attitude here of reconciliation, of forgiving, of understanding, right? It's kind of propels you right into this positive space here with the Six of Wands. And although you have a very public victory, there is an Eight of Cups here. And so someone is still walking away. Right? Now, it's funny. It's almost as if, Scorpio, it's like you finally decide to walk away from engagements and connections and dynamics that really don't feed you anything, that don't fill you up. As Eight of Cups is all about sort of putting boundaries in place with people, deciding not to continue to pour your heart into people who don't give you anything in return or who simply don't pour anything back into you, cups that aren't worth your love, basically. And it's interesting because it's like after you've gone through this sort of period, this kind of awakening, realization, period of forgiveness for yourself and understanding for others, you have this victory, and it leads you right to an understanding of you kind of turning your back on toxic relationships, right? And really doing it from a healthy point of view because you've gone through this whole process. Page of Pentacles, Six of Cups, Five of Cups. This is going to be the last one. This week you're being extremely practical. Page of Pentacles, you're coming in. And it's interesting because this is definitely a scenario to do with a love connection. And I think you come in this week and you're trying to be extremely sort of practical. You're working, like I said, practical. You're working on your job or career. You're kind of being very sort of day to day with your tasks. I think you're being busy, right? It's like you're keeping yourself busy. Right? Just like the hummingbird in a way, you're keeping yourself busy because for some of you Scorpios, when you're dealing with a difficult situation, I'm going to say why, I feel like this is already a difficult situation because I'm looking ahead to the Five of Cups. But it's like the work that you're doing this week, right? That the kind of focus, I want to say, and intention that you're putting on a particular path with regard to your career or your business, I feel like it's keeping you busy and it's keeping your heart busy while you either heal or you're not wanting to think about a certain scenario that's been quite painful, because you come up with a Six of Cups. You meet up against the Six of Cups and it's like, but you round off with a Five of Cups. So it's like, even though you're trying to be busy, there's a love connection somewhere out there with someone. I think you may run into them during this week, right? And it's like you right away have this memory of being with them, but the fallout from it is Five of Cups. So I'm going to say it's like it feels very much like some of you Scorpios are going to be running into your exes this week, or you may be running into people that you used to be friends with. Because Six of Cups is a harmonious connection. It's not always romantic, but it's definitely always harmonious. Certainly feels like some of you are being very busy. You may even be starting new jobs. This Page of Pentacles could be a new path in your job or career. And you run into this connection this week. And it's like, not only do you run into them and it all comes rushing back to you, how good it feels to be around them, but then you go right into a Five of Cups, which is despair, and anxiety and regret, right? Regret over a relationship that didn't work. And I feel like that's the case. This relationship for some reason didn't work, although seeing them has brought back all the good memories. But as soon as you guys have to part from each other and you kind of get on with your life or, get on with your day or whatever, it just reminds you of how sad you are that this broke up, And this is just a healing period. This is going to be a period where you may have to heal your heart. It could be that you broke up with them or they broke up with you or you even broke up mutually, but something about it's like when you're around them, you feel all of the Six of Cups love. As soon as you guys are apart again after this meeting, you go right back to feeling like, wow, this I feel so bad that this is not where I want it to be. I feel so bad that this didn't work out. Because every time you're around them, you can feel the love. So it's almost like, well, why didn't it work out? Clearly, there's love there, and it could very well be that a lot of the reasons why it didn't work out was because of an inability to communicate, or whatever. There was some kind of dysfunction here that led to this breakup, and it wasn't because of love. Sometimes we break up with people because we fall out of love with them. I don't think that's what happened here. This is very much a feeling of, even though you guys are still around each other, it's like you still love each other, but you just can't be with this person. They know they can't be with you, but that there's some other dynamic here that just makes it so that it doesn't work. And it's quite a shame because oftentimes those are the hardest ones to really get over, because there's no good reason that you really need to be apart from a love standpoint. Usually this indicates one or the other person unwilling to fix their dysfunctional or their toxic habits to make a relationship work. And so the relationship is ruined because of their behavior, but not necessarily because there isn't attraction there. All right, guys, I'm going to call it. This is your reading, December 29th to January 4th. I hope you enjoyed it, Scorpio. Please like, subscribe, and share. Check out your other videos. Go ahead to those links at the top of your screen if you're interested in a private reading. But for right now, Scorpio, have a wonderful, wonderful end to 2019 and a wonderful beginning to 2020. Bye-bye now.